The Galactic Soul, the Honorable Brother, the Revolutionary yourself, Darius Lockhart, and I'm here to tell you to watch Powerbombshells every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern on the Fight Game Media YouTube channel. That's right, every Sunday at 1 p.m. and that's on time, every time, because when we stand together, what time is it? That's right, it's nation time.
Welcome to Powerbombshells. I am Mel, and I am joined again by my favorite new Powerbombshell, Keela Cash, and we also have a very special guest joining us today, Josiah from the Great White North of Canada, who we haven't talked to in a really long time. Welcome to the pre-show for Powerbombshells.
It's a pleasure to be back after a while.
What's up, Keela?
Hi, I am doing well. Happy Saturday, everybody. A rare Saturday. Powerbombshell celebrating Full Gear going down tonight. So I see Mel is giving us unicorn realness on this Saturday.
I know that unicorns exist everywhere, so it's a little unruly, this unicorn, but I was like, well, I figure I'll bring it to the big show today. Yeah. Since Sam's feeling a little hoarse, get it? A unicorn, but that was for Jeremy and nobody else. All right, and she might be in the comments, so she may have heard that, and I don't apologize for one little bit. So you might see. Go ahead.
Perfect dad joke.
Oh yeah, I mean, I like puns in general, so yes. It's actually Paul is asking, is it a unicorn hat? It's kind of a unicorn like capey thing for a little kid, but I really couldn't resist, and so if it gets out of hand, I apologize in advance. But unicorn's gonna unicorn, so and. It's an unruly Full Gear show, I think. I mean, at least with, the Death Riders involved. So it's kind of on brand a little bit. So
just a little chaotic.
We are a little chaotic. This broadcast could be a little chaotic just because, well, that's how we roll. Oh, there's Sam. See, she appreciated it. Good. Okay, Sam said she appreciated it. So there's a horse joke for you. I got a couple of funny things for you, Sam, that I may or may not use. We'll see if they come up, if they become necessary. But all right, so we are going to cover today and get some previewing going for the AEW Full Gear show that's going on this evening, an afternoon, evening, depending on what side of the country you're on. And welcome, everyone. And we're going to go through the card as it's predicted. And they did add I realized that I was doing the slideshow for today, and I was like, only 10 matches. Tony usually does 11 matches. Because I've noticed from doing this for a couple of years now that when I make the slideshow, there's almost always at least 11 matches. So I even had a slate made for the one that was added last night. I'm that in Tony's head.
Yeah, he's usually quite insistent on having these longer shows. So
I was like, he's not sticking with 11 or 10. He's gonna do it. All right, let's see. All right, let's say hello to Sam.
Oh,
so
he added another match.
Welcome.
We're up to.
He did add another match, and we will get to that match, and we will get started going over the card in just a second once I say hello to everyone. Hello, hi Sam. Sam said that. Hassan is wishing Sam well, and so Sam says that her voice is still healing, her recovery is going well. I am going to fill in some blanks for her occasionally. I have a perfect clip for her at one point. So, all right, anyway. But let's get started on the card so I don't keep you guys too long and we don't end up here until the beginning of the show like we have in the past because, that's really happened. So, let's get all the way to where I need my thing to start, because I'm just going to drop the fourth wall entirely here, because who needs it anyway? Fourth walls are for losers. All right, there it is. I think that's the right one. Great job. It is. This is the one that was added last night. So we have ourselves a 1, 2, 3, 4-way during the 0 hour with Dante Martin, the Beast Mortos, we've got Commander and Buddy Matthews, and so that's our tribal chief in Sam's words. So with the 2 horn, the double L.
Yes.
So what do you guys think? Let's hear thoughts on this. Keely, you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll take it. Let's see here. 4 guys in a random 4-way battle on 0 hour. I have 0 emotional investment, but it should be a fun, high-flying match. A lot of flash, a lot of excitement. And I am going to pick, in honor of Sam, the tribal chief, the Beast Mortos, to get the W.
So I think it looks like a good match. It's going to be difficult for these guys to have a bad match. I think that's pretty much impossible when you get these 4 in the ring. The winner is either going to be Buddy Matthews or Mortos, if you ask me. I'm hard pressed to pick between the 2, but I'm going to go with Mortos as well.
Yeah, I think the trifecta. I don't know. Maybe. I mean, I think we're going to go the trifecta. I'm just going to take him because he's who I want to win in my heart. And again, because this kind of got added last minute and it was like, okay, here's this random match. And as we've discussed on previous shows, there's only one women's match on this entire show. And they added this. And I'm not saying that, we necessarily want the women on the 0 hour, but they did add this match and not another women's match. And I think that bears just being pointed out, or else I think that someone I know who may or may not be my co-host on this show might have mentioned something like that. I don't know. I don't want to speak for her.
They I think on Rampage last night they did add another match, and it's Deonna Purrazzo versus Anna Jay. I'm seeing that on the Wikipedia now. So
did.
Yeah.
Excellent. I missed that one, and I feel bad because I won't have a slate for that. Okay, so there it was. I totally missed that one. They actually did it. I can't believe it.
Yep. So that will be on the pre-show as well. But yeah, Purrazzo versus Anna Jay is listed there on the Wikipedia right now. I'm looking it up as we speak.
So she says that same thing. So yes, Deonna Purrazzo. Thank you, Hassan. So all right. Well, that's actually great. I love to hear that. That's really solid. And Sam is acknowledging her tribal chief there, as well as and her pick is Commander. She says she gets the win because he's facing Hechicero in the Lucha Rampage on Friday. So
that is
go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I was going to say that is a good pick, given the logic of it. It's just that Mortos, I think, is involved in an active storyline, but I guess it doesn't really require him to win to continue that story. So,
yeah, fair enough. And I mean, like Keela pointed out at the beginning, some of us aren't invested in this at all. And I didn't know that until Sam said that. So maybe that's what they're kind of banking on. I'm not doing that, David. I'm just not.
David's doing his best, Jacob Fatu. I love Solo. I love him so much. He is my tribal chief.
I will put it up here, okay? But I'm not doing it. Keela will do it for you. There you go.
I won't do it because he's not my tribal chief either. I don't acknowledge him.
All right. Well, I'm at least throwing it up there as so that you know what we're talking about. And Laurent is backing up. They added Deonna match, but because she's from the area, but they should have known that since she debuted in New Jersey earlier this year, all the more reason to have her on the main card. Well, there you go. Is it not on the main card? Is it on the 0 hour, the women's match? I'm getting mixed messages from these comments.
Parazzo and Anna Jay is on the 0 hour.
Okay, so it is on the 0 hours, not on the main card. Okay.
Yes.
So we added 2 0 hours. So I'm sorry. He is even going longer than I thought. I'm even one slide short. I thought I was ahead of the game. See? Right in the foot. All right. Ron, stop having logic, Sam says. So, all right. Let's get off this match before we get off the rails before we even get started. So I guess we should talk about Deonna Purrazzo then and Anna Jay for, even though this is not that match here. So I'll just put us back here real quick, but so that you can see my adorable unicorn. What do you think on this? I like the match. I mean, I'm super excited about a match like that. That sounds like a great match. It could be a main card match, I feel like. But Kilo, what do you think on that one? What do you think on Anna Jay and Deonna Purrazzo?
I think it's going to be good if they have the time to go out there and showcase their abilities in the ring, which I think they will for a 0 hour show. Keep it tight at 2 matches. Don't push 3 or 4 because that's trying it, Tony. Please don't do that. Don't add anything this afternoon, I beg of thee. But as we talked about last week, like Anna Jay and Mariah May should have had their match on this card for Full Gear. The no DQ match would have been so good with more time, even more heat. But this is where we are. And I'm glad that Deonna is getting a chance to be on the show in her hometown. That's lovely. Why did we not build this up on TV for weeks? Is my question.
Man, you're right. We could have just flipped those 2 matches. Go ahead, Josiah.
Yeah, I agree. I thought the Anna Jay and Mariah May blow off should have been on the pay-per-view. I get they wanted to do, well, truthfully, they're probably doing the return of Toni Storm tonight. And I think that's probably why they're doing it on the pay-per-view, which I do understand. But at the same time, you could do the return on the pay-per-view after the match, I suppose. But they want to have it in the celebration with Mina Shirakawa. So I do get why they're doing it. But at the same time, I think Anna Jay versus Mariah May would have been a bigger match. That said, Purrazzo and Anna Jay will have a great match. Anna Jay's improved dramatically since she had that tour of stardom, and Deonna Purrazzo is always great. And so the match should be pretty good. As for who would win, I mean, she's lost fairly frequently lately. I would get behind Anna Jay with a push, but they did just start the Deonna Purrazzo stuff with Taya Valkyrie, and so they may lean into that as well and have Valkyrie help Purrazzo win.
Yeah, I feel like you're probably right. More than, I mean, I would like to see Anna Jay get a push and get a win, but I think you're right because they've got the bigger storyline going on with them, and they had it going on at one point and then stopped it and restarted it. So they're obviously going back to that line. So maybe just trying to get Anna Jay more reps and more notice. Maybe put her in a beef with somebody new or else, depending on how some of the other matches play out. Well, the other match plays out tonight, but also like what goes on in the celebration, which I know that Toni Storm quit wrestling and said she's a loser and retired for life and all of that stuff. And so I didn't think about that coming back around in the pay-per-view, but what was I thinking? I mean, I knew she was being Toni Storm, but now it makes total sense that I can't believe I totally missed that she's probably going to suddenly make her return from retirement tonight.
Yeah, I think that retirement announcement was a swerve.
It was hilarious. Don't get me wrong. Like the minute I read it, I was like, oh, you silly thing. Just keep doing what you're doing. It's so amazing.
She's incredible.
Friday. What are we doing next? popped us out of here because let's go to the next one, which is show the picture, Mel. Gosh, what's up?
Oh, are we?
All right, this is the order. No, this is wrong because I wanted to show the where's the other 0 hour one?
There it is.
There, that was okay. They were just out of order because this was first. The most controversial match on the card this week for the pay-per-view. Oh my God, Twitter. You guys, when you get preoccupied with meaningless shit, you get preoccupied with meaningless shit.
Oh, yeah.
I want the Costco guys to win this just to be like there because it's so funny. They're like, why are they doing this? Why are they doing this crossover influence? I'm going to get this off my chest before I let you guys speak in this particular case. So, not going to be a very good host on this one, but just the way that the Twitter, the wrestling Twitter especially has reacted to this like this has been a new level of ridiculousness on wrestling Twitter, which is saying so much. And it's like, yeah, right, because every wrestling promotion in the history of man hasn't done some crossover match with, including just right now in WWE with someone that's basically full-time on the roster. But a giant crossover match, it's in the 0 hour with a huge, they're losing numbers in their 18 to 49s. They need to do something. I'm pretty sure these YouTube guys, even I've heard of these guys, okay? Like, and I'm not really good with that group of things, but I had Bob showing me their YouTube channel one day because they also have TikTok. I'm like, Jesus God. But, all right. So speak your piece on this, folks. Who wants to go first?
Go ahead, Keela.
Don't all talk at once.
Josiah, why did you put this on me? Why did you place this burden on top of me to talk about this match? Because now, unless I'm delusional and maybe I was seeing things months ago, didn't Tony Khan say, QT, this isn't it for you as an in-ring performer anymore. We're going to keep you strictly behind the scenes and you're going to coach up our future. And he lands on this card and I am offended. I am aggrieved. I'm traumatized. So I am going with Big Boom. Go ahead, dude. Beat him.
All right.
Do me a favor and get him off of my screen and give him back to the designated role he was supposed to be out of my sight.
I see. It's funny because I see more people offended at Big Boom AJ here, and don't get me wrong, I watched one of their videos and I was extremely annoyed through the whole thing. Like it was, and I'm not a person that gets easily annoyed. And I watched it and I went, I can never watch these guys again. And that said, they have been like doing the media rounds. They've been on all the talk shows and stuff promoting this AEW pay-per-view. And I go, these people may annoy me like crazy, but at least they're promoting the show. And so I expect to see AJ win this match and send QT Marshall back to his backstage job. And it'll be fine. But yeah, like what Sam said there is quite right. They're doing exactly what AEW is bringing them in for, which is promoting the show. Hey, if it works, it works. And the guy, like I said, greatly annoyed, but people seem to enjoy him. When they mentioned the Rizzler would be there, I have no idea who any of these people are. But the crowd popped when they mentioned that, so I guess someone knows. At least the audience knows. I know, like I said, I know absolutely nothing about them. I watched one of their videos. I never wanted to see them again. But if they're getting stuff promoted for the show and getting eyes on the product, and they're in a relatively inoffensive pre-show match, I could live with that. Now, if they're wrestling on the main card against someone who actually matters, I'll get a little bit more upset about that. But this is just a crossover promotional match. That's fine. let him murder QT with a power bomb or a power boom, as he calls it, and let it be done and over with.
Let's see. Sam does say AJ is definitely winning the Hub of the Rizzler. That was her thing. And she is right. They did get about the Twitter got 12 million views. The AEW Twitter got 12 million views because of these guys. And like you guys both just pointed out, they are promoting the show, and that should be the biggest thing. So Tony kind of, you kind of, everyone played into it by even just complaining about it. It's like, right, you guys know that that's like boosting the algorithm, though. So,
it's causing interaction. Yeah.
So, and we got to make sure that we get in, Keela, it's hilarious. I think I just blocked out the QT Marshall side of it entirely because
Thank you.
think about it.
Look at how you finessed that. We basically said who? He's there.
And Sam says, I've made no secret of my feelings about QT, which makes me want AJ to win. And that is so true. And I didn't even think about the fact that you were right about the fact that he was supposed to be retired. And that makes me even a little madder about the whole setup with the women's matches and so forth. Because not that, again, this got promotion if it got eyes on the show, and you don't know that until after the show is purchased.
Exactly. If it means 100 more buys, it was a success.
Correct.
If it's selling tickets, it's a success. Even though we don't get it, other people do, and I have to respect that. But as with Sam is me, and I am Sam.
Yeah.
And speaking of tickets, the show is doing quite well. They're going to hit probably around 10,000 people for the show. So
nice.
The pay-per-view has done well for ticket sales.
And to the best of my knowledge, and I haven't gone on Triller, which is what I tend to use because it's been the most reliable, but to the best of my knowledge at this moment, they are doing a double buy like they did for the Full Gear or not Full Gear, but All In and All Out, where they did buy it for this much right now, and you can save like $10. I'm pretty sure they're doing the same thing with this and Wrestle Dream. Which, if that's true, I will definitely be partaking of that deal because I think that that's a smart idea also. And it gets you a bunch of pre-buys for your next one, but it saves me $10 potentially. And I think everyone's happy all the way around. So if they're doing that and people are into that, I know I saw on payperview.com they were doing it. I just haven't confirmed it on Triller because I haven't been on there and I don't want to speak out of turn on that one. But,
and it has to be said too, like when you're buying AEW pay-per-views even in advance, it's going to be a worthwhile investment because the pay-per-views are always good. Like there's only one pay-per-view they've had that I went, well, that was not that great, but that was by their standards, and by almost everyone else's standards, it was still a great show. So it's one thing AEW does right is they always deliver great pay-per-views, and I think the next few will be no different.
Agree. That's why, and you're absolutely right. That's why I do it. And Sam says that's why Keela's free burning for her. So there we have the confirmation here. Yeah. So we've all weighed in on the AJ and Big Boom there and the whole 9 yards. The overwhelming feeling is that QT Marshall needs to go away. So yes. we hope the Costco guys win.
Yes, go Costco. I will go to Costco. I will spend money on Costco. I will invest in Costco.
Hey, I'm a Costco member, so maybe do I have like member where I can like make a vote where I'm like, no, I'm fuel points aren't worth this. But let's get them out. Let's get this off of here. Let's move on to the next one. We already did that one. We know they're out of order. All right, here we go. This is the main card based on something I pulled off of one of the ones I trust, sort of. Of course, Tony always picks his own direction that he's going with his shows, and it could go anyway. But this is what I've got first up. We've got MJF versus Roderick Strong, which I don't know why I thought this in my head was going to be MJF versus Adam Cole, but for some reason in my head did that, and I was like, no, wait, it's wrong. So I would like to see Roderick Strong beat MJF, but that's just because I'm kind of done with MJF for right now. But I don't know where. I mean, that could be a just me thing. But and maybe just sort of put this whole thing to an end and move along. And if MJF wants to start a new storyline with someone and something else, that's where I would be at with that. So, Kilo, you want to take the next one? Next? You want to go next?
Yes, I'll take this one. So this is actually happening. They didn't swerve us. They didn't add a sprinkle here to add in Adam Cole. They are really going through with this match. God, I wish that flash thingy thing for Men in Black was real, because they're really trying to make us forget the last year of the devil and everything that came with it, and Adam Cole turning on MJF and then reversing roles earlier this year. This is a culmination of what not to do in a situation like this, because this is what we get. It should be a very good match, but the fans want MJF and Adam Cole, even though everything leading up to it has been a hot mess. This will be a perfectly fine wrestling match, could be very good, but really, this is what they did. MJF wins.
Yep. I'm in agreement there. I think this has been kind of a disaster of booking. I'm usually pretty kind towards AEW's booking, but this one was booked really weird, and not going with Adam Cole in the match and going with Roderick Strong. I get it. You're probably just trying to delay the big Adam Cole match, and then you're waiting until MJF is done filming his movie so you can be there every week to feud with Cole. I do get the reasons for it. But at the same time, there's just better things to do. You can have Cole do anything in between if he can't feud with MJF at that moment. And MJF doesn't have to be on the pay-per-view, although he certainly will add pay-per-view buys because he's a star. Forgetting the Devil storyline and all that aside, this will be a great match because they're two great workers. Mm-hmm. But I'm not that into it. I wanted to see Adam Cole versus MJF as well. But as Sam said there in the comments, I do agree. I think MJF wins and he faces Cole at World's End because that's where the Devil storyline was there. And we can resolve that and be done with it, hopefully, and never talk about it again because the Devil storyline was terrible. And
as
now
Kila has suggested.
and the recovery and trying to turn it around and make Adam Cole the babyface, it hasn't quite caught. It has just hasn't worked the way they wanted it to. And God bless Adam Cole. He's trying to with the promos. The guy is really trying to make it work, and it's just not working for the fans. So let's just move to that feud and hopefully have Adam Cole beat MJF and then move forward, and MJF can come back when he's ready to, once he's done filming his movies, and they can go do their separate things at that point and maybe revisit it down the line, but with minus the Devil part. Because the two of them, we already saw them have a great match at not this past All In, but the year before. There's no way Adam Cole and MJF are going to have a bad match. They're way too good.
Yeah.
And Roderick Strong, of course, is a tremendous worker. Probably one of the more underrated guys in wrestling. Mm-hmm. And so I expect this match will be great, but I have very little emotional investment in it.
And I think probably Sam, as much as I want Roderick Strong, because I'm just kind of the fan of it's like we talked about. I've got that underdog thing where I do want it to be him, but it should be Cole. And so obviously this needs to be a sort of see, I beat your friend up. Now you're going to have to fight me. Even though, again, like I said, when I put it up, I was like, wait a minute, am I getting this wrong? Did I pull the wrong graphic? So I guess that tells me everything. And Sam also included that hopefully Samoa Joe returns, which I'm all about. I love having Samoa Joe around. I think it's good for everything.
We need more Samoa Joe on our wrestling programs because he's the best.
Yes,
really
absolutely.
Is.
He makes everything better.
he adds so much to it. I mean, he doesn't even have to be wrestling straight up. He can be part of it, and that's good. But he can end this for maybe he can like make us forget. Maybe Samoa Joe is the neuralizer we all need for that Devil storyline.
I'll take it. Let me see you and remind me of why we had to escape this last year.
What? Yeah. Samoa Joe came along and I forgot all about it. It's like a separate timeline or something now.
And Joe is a special performer. I will die on the hill that he's one of the best performers of the last 20 years, and he's always been put in positions, bad positions. Like TNA put him in a terrible position multiple times to not draw, and he still did well anyways. And then, of course, WWE misused him. But when he won the title in AEW, it was like, oh my goodness, finally someone is giving him a run that's actually worthy of Samoa Joe's talent and level. And I'm very happy to see. I'd be very happy to see him back. Wrestling is more fun with Samoa Joe on TV, cutting promos about how he's going to kill people. It's great.
Yes.
And no selling people's like favorite moves
and dives, and he just sidesteps it. Like that is one of my favorite Samoa Joe things.
Love that. That's so on like the Ishii level for like things that I love about guys that are that guy for. And you're right about he really has made. Let's use the lemonade analogy instead of the other ones. He's made a lot of lemonade out of things over the years because he's been given a lot of lemons for storylines, and but when he really has been able to flourish, and I mean, I just love it. I actually felt like I was like, I know I like this guy, but and then he became part of AEW for really real, and now he is almost like one of the wrestling dads there. I think he should be involved because I think you need a counter wrestling dad to angry Moxley, like kind of like a corporal punishment dad. You
Joe
need like
Moxley in a feud. Oh my gosh!
Oh, I can't even. Yeah,
that would be so great. It's so violent. It's gonna be awesome if they do that.
Agreed. I didn't even think of it until just now. Oh, let's do that. All right. So let's go to the next thing we've got going on here in this one. Okay. Like, I mean, probably like one of the matches of the card, if we're all being honest with ourselves.
It's time for Ospreay to have his match of the year of the week again.
So true, isn't it? So let's see. I'm going to let you guys pick first. So I'm going to, instead of putting it all on Keela first, it's your turn, Josiah. You're going first. So
I see. So this match is going to rule.
I'm swerving.
I see the swerve there. You swerve when you drive, right?
I totally do.
I think this is one that Kyle Fletcher has to win because this is his first major singles match at this level, and they're trying to establish him as a heel unless there is a greater purpose in moving Ospreay towards Takeshita, which is possible. I would say right now Fletcher, it's the right time for Fletcher to win, and as we know, Will Ospreay is very unselfish in the ring. He's willing to put guys over. He has no compulsions about losing, and it wouldn't hurt him to lose. So we'll see. When they just started pushing Fletcher, I'd like to see Fletcher win from a booking perspective. From who I'm cheering for as a babyface versus heel, I 100% want to see Will Ospreay win because I get emotionally invested in stories like that. This has been a good, well-booked story, this one. This is one where I had to give my kudos to Tony Khan. He's booked both of this quite well. Not perfectly, but well. And Fletcher is a great heel right now. And I think it's kind of his time to push him, but you have to have a concrete plan in place for what to do next with him. It can't just be beat Ospreay and then just go back to being in the mid card. If you're going to go with him, you have to start pushing him. And this is kind of the problem AEW consistently has, is that they always have guys just about ready to be pushed, and it's so many of them, and you can only push one or two at a time. But I hope Fletcher moves up the card quite well here. And Ospreay, of course, would not hurt being losing here. He can enter the C2 and the Continental Classic and maybe do some recovery there. And then we can move on to having like Ospreay face guys like Okada and whatnot. And everyone knows they want to do Okada and Ospreay again because it was great in New Japan, and there's no way it will be bad in AEW. So I think Fletcher has to win this one.
What about you, Kilo? What do you think?
I agree. So this is going to be like another discussion. Will Ospreay has another amazing match of the year. Again, that has been the case for every match he's been in this year, which is remarkable. And when you're wrestling with one of your best friends, now turn enemies, you know they're going to turn up the volume so much in this match, which I'm going to enjoy. And Kyle has been amazing throughout this heel turn so far. Shaving the head was a big step in separating himself from looking like Will, and this gave him that edge and gave him this cockiness that I really love and enjoy. And I think they're going to absolutely have the best match on the show. The main event might say something about that as well, but for a pure wrestling standpoint, these guys are going to go out there and kill it. Kyle needs to win more than Will right now because you're trying to establish him as the next guy in line that could be a major player in AEW. And the way to do that is by beating the guy that puts you where you are today in Will Ospreay. Let's do it. Crowd's going to love it. Dave's going to give it 5.5 stars, and people will go ballistic. One way or the other, happy or enraged. I'll be happy either way.
When Will Ospreay breaks the scale yet again.
No, I've already had this discussion with Keela last week. Dave's never allowed to break his own scale again. I cannot handle it. I will have to go off all social media entirely. He's not allowed. I forbid it. I know that he is all the Powerbombshells listening. He does. I forbid you to break your own scale, which is probably inviting disaster. But don't do it, okay?
When he inevitably does, I just ignore the Twitter stuff and I go, "Yep, great match."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, or I mean, the standard, which to me is it's one man's opinion. Like,
yes, absolutely.
I mean, really simple. Like, you can think what you want to think about these things. And he's even said he goes with his gut. Like, so it's fine. But I mean, people love to argue these things. I tend to agree with both of you in terms of the fact that, like, Kyle needs this win because it's his time. It reminds me of when Will was in this position with Okada, where he was having this match, where he needed this win, where he had to finally, I mean, Kyle hasn't had the same, like, he didn't have to, I mean, he almost beat Okada like 6 times and had like one questionable one, but like finally beat him clean. But I think this has the feel of like a mini version of that to me, where he's the Okada guy. Will is the Okada in this situation, and Kyle is the young Will having to sort of slay that dragon a little bit. I still am very, very, I want a United Empire North America. There's potential for it to happen. Maybe the beating of him will like bring them together, and it's like, see, I told you could do it. But I mean, I'm being overly optimistic. But yeah, Will Ospreay he doesn't need to worry about losing. So
he's a made man. Ospreay.
He's good right now. Yeah, I mean, he is the best in the world right now, just in terms of like, I mean, consistently wrestling. And I mean, I know I'm partial, but
I don't think there's any question. He's the best wrestler alive today.
Yeah.
He's well up there for sure. There's others in the category and conversation, but like the guy, like I said, he's having his match of the year of the week this week. So
yeah, and he doesn't. It's especially on pay-per-views. Like, he's a guy that doesn't phone it in on pay-per-views. So not that he ever does, but he turns it up. All right, let's get to the AEW World Tag Team Championship 4-way match, which seems like a lot of guys, except that I really like a lot of these guys. So I think the Private Party is going to retain. I think it makes the most sense for them to retain. I hope they retain. I would hate to see them be a short-term deal. But I do think that this match is going to be a lot of fun. And I'm so pro Outrunners. I'm so happy they're on this card. That's all I care about. So, all right. I'm going to go to Keela this time.
All right. So I think this match is going to be very fun. And I'm going to be very honest in saying I have like this secret twisted desire to see the Outrunners win. They won't. They won't win.
I know. I'm so
They won't.
with you. I know.
But they're going to be so freaking over in this match. They're going to be so over. The fans are going to be so emotionally invested in every near fall. And Tony is going to be so slick. It's going to be like 2.99 seconds and then kick out by somebody. It's going to be so close for them. The fans are going to be on the edge, hoping and praying could this happen. It won't, but he will have you on that roller coaster. It should be a very good match. The teams are interesting. I do see the Acclaimed on the verge of like splintering, and I think that's long overdue because they've peaked for me recently, and I would love to see Bowens on his own as a single star.
Yeah.
I need that in my life. Private Party got the W, well deserved, last month against the Young Bucks. Kudos to them, but they will win. However, the most over team in this match will be the Outrunners.
With me, certainly.
Yes.
I'm completely with you, Keela. That's what I was. I mean, you kind of like. Thank you for really bringing out. I mean, just saying what I was essentially thinking. Because I love them so much. Go ahead, Josiah.
That basically sums up my thoughts as well. I think Private Party has to win, especially where they just beat the Young Bucks. You want to have them established in the role. And show that this is not just a one-off, but they're actually making an effort to push this younger team, younger talent into that. And I think having a multi-man match as their first major defense, I think their first defense, is actually a good idea because Private Party is still in the ring, still green a little bit, and having a multi-man spot fest is the exact perfect match for them to showcase how great they are in that realm. And it's a good way to show that they to maintain that momentum so that they look impressive against 3 other teams, not just one team. So I like that. The Outrunners will obviously be the most over guys in the match. I think that's without question. They are hilarious and I love them. And of course, Kings of the Black Throne will be great. I mean, it's hard to have a bad match with Brody King and Malachi Black, and the Acclaimed in there as former champions. They will, I think, do their best to have a good match, but they're on a way towards a split. I look like, but it's getting a little past due in that regard. I think they've outlived their gimmick, and it's time for a change for them, whatever that looks like. But Private Party has to win, and it will be a very fun, wild, crazy spot fest that I think everyone will pop for.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a fun match. This will be a nice, like, in the middle, lots of cool everything stuff. Kind of spread out, because there's a lot of wrestling matches on this, actually. I mean, just even glancing over, there are some, like, a lot of these are singles matches that are probably going to get some time. So this will give us a little bit of a fun breathing thing. God, I love the Outrunners so much. Okay, we made that point. Sorry. All right, this is the next one I've got on the board here. We've got the International Championship, AEW International Championship, Konosuke Takeshita versus Ricochet. I don't see how this match isn't just a giant banger. I mean, look at who these people are. All right, Keela, what do you think? What do you think is going on with this one? What are your thinks?
Oh boy, this match should be great. I see this being a potential match of the night candidate. It won't clear Ospreay, I believe, but I think it would be very close. Takeshita is amazing. And I think that Ricochet is probably going to have his best match in AEW outside of what he did with Ospreay on TV a few weeks ago. Just give them time to go out there and put on a show, and they will. I think that we will see things we have not seen from Ricochet in quite some time. I think Prince Puma might make a little cameo here and there with some moves.
Oh,
He's going to bust out that we have not seen in a minute. He's going to unlock that code he hasn't really dived into in a minute. But Tateshka is definitely going to keep the championship. I don't foresee a title change, but this would be a great match. It might nip at the heels of Ospreay and Fletcher, but we shall see.
Yes, I agree. I think they're going to try to outdo Ospreay and Fletcher for sure, because that's the kind of guys they all are. And having those 4 guys compete for match of the night is going to be a very nice reward for us as viewers.
We're all the winners here.
We are the winners.
The real winners are us.
Because this match is going to rule. The build has been a bit weird, but you know what? In the end, this match is going to be awesome, and I will not regret paying for the pay-per-view having seen it, or will see it. I don't think there's any way these two could have a bad match. Takeshita has to win, and there is a question of where does Ricochet go after that, but we'll see. I would like to see Ricochet and Ospreay actually get a chance to have their full match instead of one that's interrupted, shall we say, by Takeshita. Maybe they'll head towards a triple threat with Ospreay, Ricochet, and Takeshita. I normally prefer one-on-one matches, but with those 3, if they do a triple threat down the line or a 3-way match, that should be interesting as well. And again, no way that would be bad either. But this is going to be really great, and I think Takeshita wins. But no one really loses in watching a match that good.
I think this is kind of one of Ricochet's. Like, this is a big match for him, though, in the AEW. I think that
a very big match.
Just because Takeshita has been clicking so hard with people when he is out there, this is going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited.
And they are slow burning Takeshita and Okada as well for down the line. They've been slow burning that for like 6 months, but now they've upped it a little bit lately. But that's just lingering. When are they going to do Okada and Takeshita? And there's a lot of things in line for both these guys. You have Omega, the return of Omega looming as well, and everyone knows we want to see Omega and Okada again. I'd love to see Omega and Takeshita. Love to see Omega and Ricochet. So there's lots of options here for both guys going forward. Most of them will all Kenny Omega in my head, but hey, that's another story.
A natural. I mean, the guy says he's finally coming back. You start to go, oh gosh. And I feel like they have to do Takeshita Okada a little bit because of that promotional rivalry stuff that they have to put to rest. Just because both of them were like the biggest thing in their promotions. I mean, obviously
DDP versus New Japan.
Yeah, a little bit. I think that's still, but just because they've been playing on that the last couple of years, so I feel like there's something there with that. And then of course there's the crossover with Kenny having been in DDT, so you could do any number of those matches. But let's not fantasy book all of Tony's matches for the future on this one show, because God, he's got a lot of talent. So let's see. So we are, I think, in agreement that let's see what Sam was she was talking about that. I missed her pick on the she says that she felt that a private party was going to retain. I forgot to put Sam's thing up there, and I didn't see if she had a pick for Takeshita and Ricochet here, but I do think that the champion retains. And Ricochet, I hope, keeps having amazing matches, because there's lots of people for him to match with. And here's there's a lot of amazing singles matches on this card. Hangman and Jay White is like classic New Japan for me. So I don't know. I'm taking Jay White in this one, but I'm going to let Josiah take the first thoughts on this.
Sure. So this is where I will differ. I think Hangman Page wins, but that said, it wouldn't hurt for Hangman to lose to Jay White. I mean, it would elevate Jay White in AEW, which I do think is necessary because Jay White, he should be in more prominent positions. He only got that one push to a pay-per-view main event, and he was tremendous in that build with MJF. I think that was probably one of the best built MJF title matches of his rather, I would say, not poor is too harsh, mediocre AEW title run that MJF had, especially when he turned babyface. But Hangman Adam Page is kind of on another level at this point as well. Could he lose and it not hurt him? Yeah. So it is possible Jay White will win, but I keep envisioning next year somehow Hangman turns back babyface, but he's still the same violent Hangman, and we see him feud with Moxley over the title, and I think that would rule. But that's me fantasy booking, and who knows what they actually have planned. But I do want to see Hangman and Moxley revisited at some point, especially with these new characters. But Jay White can win. Hangman could win as well. But I'm going to go with Hangman, but I may regret that later today.
I have to make sure that. So Sam's pick was Takeshita retains, and she says match of the night contender. Also leaves his plans and Hangman wins. Just leaves his plans.
Yes, the Blue Sky reference.
If someone, I think I saw someone tweet if someone doesn't show up with a leaves his plants sign, this pay-per-view has failed. So it was just like, all right. We love our memes in wrestling, don't we?
We do. What is wrestling without memes? What is memes without wrestling?
It's so memeable. What do you think, Keela?
I love the memeing of life. Yes, I really did that just now.
Yes.
So I could not resist. It was so easy. This match is a real toss-up for me. I don't know who's going to win. My leanings are kind of split down the middle. You can't go wrong either way, but I do sense a Hangman win tonight. I do love the character. He's such a surly, miserable bastard. Yes. I love that for him. It's been a great switch up the last few months. Jay White, as Josiah says, I think that he definitely needs something heading into the new year. He should be way more up the card than he is right now. No injuries have happened. He's not been prominently featured at the top, but I think that needs to change because you pay him a lot of money to be here, and he should not be just meandering around the middle of the card. He should be a main event player, because I go back to what I said even a few weeks ago on the rap with Scott Young, with Jay White in particular, is if Vince was completely gone from WWE, he probably would have signed, and Tony Khan definitely lucked out at the end. So you have to maximize him while you can, because if you're not giving him the story and the fuse and warrant his talent, I guarantee you in a couple of years he's going to jump. So now is the time to really key in on what you need to do with Jay White. He should be a main eventer next year, vying for the AEW World Championship again.
And I will say, turning him babyface was wise, because the Bullet Club Gold, Bang Bang Gang, they get over with all their promos, and it just made sense to turn him babyface. Jay White is a tremendous heel, probably a better heel. But when everyone wants to cheer him, just lean into it. Turn him babyface. If it doesn't work, turn him back down the line. I've been a big Jay White fan for years. I remember when he joined Chaos in that press conference, and I was watching it with a friend, and we both said he's going to be the downfall of Okada's run, and we were right.
Yes, you were.
And he's a tremendous heel. He's just a tremendous worker in general. So I'd like to see him in a more prominent position.
Agreed. I've been saying that they need to give him a bigger approach. Jay White is brilliant. He really understands everything. He's one of the first people that made me understand how good of a worker certain people are, where I was like, wait a minute, I see what he's doing here. This guy's whoa, he's one of the people that really, because I watched so much of him when I was first watching New Japan, because that was when he was being featured there, and he was, becoming not a young lion and going up against Okada, and we were at Madison Square Garden, and he's one of my favorites. And I like kind of the idea of him being a Jay White style babyface, because he'll work it. Like, he'll know how to he'll figure it out. He will always work out a way. Sort of like, it's not softer or kinder and gentler Bullet Club, but it's the more like edgelordy than like, they're more edgelord than metal, I guess. what I would say. So it's a little more accessible to the average normie Bullet Club but he's still a badass no matter what. And then Juice, of course, brings such a wonderful element to that.
You get Juice Robinson being wacky. All you have to do is put a camera on him and just see what happens, and people will be entertained, because he's an absolutely insane human being, which is kind of ironic because his wife is also kind of insane as well, in Tony Storm. So
they must like. You almost would like wonder what their conversations must be like, or if they just either they have like the weirdest conversations, or they have the normalest, like most wholesome conversations in the universe. Is probably how it works, because that's almost always how it works. Sam says she thinks that Switchblade will be in the C2, which I think is a good theater for that. And she said that Jeremy predicted Finlay cost Switchblade, which sets up Wrestle Kingdom.
That would be interesting.
Here for that.
I would be okay with that.
That would be helpful for Finlay, honestly.
Yes, absolutely.
And
it'd almost be bigger for Finlay than Jay in some ways, even though that would bring Jay back to New Japan, which would be the biggest thing in the universe. Oh my God.
And Wrestle Kingdom is looking for some big matches, and so having Jay White on the card would be pretty big. You gotta want Jay White at least on the January 5th card. And the truth is, these shows now for AEW and New Japan both are serving two masters. They're not just serving their own interests; they're serving each other in trying to build up that pay-per-view, and it would make sense to do something like that. And with the pay-per-view crowds tend to be a more of a smart crowd as well. If you get David Finlay running in, that's going to get a pop. And having a Bullet Club Gold versus the Bullet Club War Dogs would be a very interesting match. So I'd like to see that. That's an interesting call. I don't know if it happens, but it would be interesting.
And is it Wrestle Dream that Kenny's back for, or Wrestle Dynasty that he's back for?
Wrestle Dynasty.
That's it. Okay, so he is going to be back in the Tokyo Dome on January 5th, which for people like Garrett and I is like, that's how we picture him anyway. So it's hard for us still, but
Kenny in New Japan just feels right.
It does.
As much as I love watching him in AEW, in New Japan, it just feels right.
I love watching him wrestle no matter what, but I do. There is something homey about it. It's like comfort food. It's comfort wrestling.
Yes.
All right. So this is going to be another great match. This pay-per-view is so stacked. God. Okay, here we go. Daniel Garcia and Jack Perry. Who wants to go first? I'm letting you guys pick this time. Oh
Mel, how about you go first?
All right, I'll go first. I want Daniel Garcia to overcome this scapegoat jerk and really give it to him and take it home. But I'm not sure, because what do you do with Jack Perry if he's not the TNT champion? And so I'm just gonna go with my heart pick and take Daniel Garcia, even though I probably think that the winner will end up being Jack Perry. How about that? I'm so like, look at the fence sitter over here. So, but I want Daniel Garcia to win so bad, because I just want him to get going in whatever direction they want him to go in and be that guy then.
Oh, Mel, and the chat is helping me so much right now. Thank you, Robert, because I'm about to ease your fears right now. The time has come to be very bold on this show. So every time I do like a pre show, I tend to make bold, declarative picks here.
Yeah, I love bold predictions. Those are
Yes.
my favorites. So you can always make bold predictions with me. The bolder, the better. The spicier the take and the bolder the prediction. Okay?
Yes. And it tends to come true when I make these bold, outlandish predictions. So I am going to predict that Daniel Garcia is going to win the TNT Championship. We have back-to-back matches of surly, miserable bastards, and Jack Perry is another one. And he is, and I agree with Robert, he is going to defect from the Elite because the Elite, as we have predicted, are going to find their heart. It's going to grow 3 sizes for the love of AEW, and they're going to distance themselves from Jack Perry. And because of this, Jack Perry will align with the Death Riders, and Willa Yuta will defect from the Death Riders because he has a conscience and a heart, and he will join Team AEW. He will align with the Elite. Yes, this is basically an NFL and NBA trade equivalent heading into next year. Yes, I said it. It is going to happen.
Bold indeed. Bold indeed. So analyzing this, I'm thinking I think Daniel Garcia needs to win at some point, but I don't know if it's the right time. But we shall see. I like the idea of Jack joining the Death Riders. That is interesting. Instead, I'll add my own bold prediction, and this is probably not going to happen, but I'm going to add it anyways because it's ridiculous and it makes me laugh when I think about it. Someone is going to send Jack Perry's creep van on fire and then drive it off a bridge.
And it should be Moxley driving it off the cliff. Like, we have seen enough of this.
I hope so.
He drives it off the cliff, and then you just see him walking out of the flaming wreckage fine.
Yes, like that movie scene.
Marina's going to drag him to the safety of solid ground as that van just careens off the cliff.
I'd also like to see Marina hit
it. He just pulls up and picks him up, and they drive away. In some
I'd like to see Marina hit a judo throw on the bus.
There you go.
Yes.
He just throws the bus
right over. Get that thing right in there. He has said that he's trying to destroy all the like shenanigans and stuff. Yes. And there's nothing like more shenanigan than that creep van. I mean,
it is creepy.
And like all the stuff they do with it, like, I mean, yeah, this week I'm like, it got me thinking because Sam is always warning you about parking lots outside of wrestling venues, and it just got me to thinking that was this one of the places that was on Sam's list of watch out for this parking lot?
Oh my God.
Sam even says Jack might join Death Riders. I think Daniel Garcia could win and get the win for Team AEW if Daniel Garcia loses. He wins because of the C2 last year. So possible. And you're being agreed with by Robert here. You know what? I didn't think about the idea of Jack Perry joining Moxley. And I think that if he had the championship, that wouldn't necessarily work with them because I mean, if he loses the championship, it's the perfect opportunity for him to go rogue with them and be like, F this van, drive it off a cliff.
Yes. I think that the van has to end with someone setting it on fire at some point.
Yes.
Maybe Eddie Kingston when he comes back or something like that. But I do want to see that van set on fire.
I mean, Hangman likes to blow things up.
Yes.
That's true.
Gasoline and lighter immediately. Torch
he can, at minimum, he could give out pointers.
Yes.
Okay, here's how, and he can also give pointers on walking away from like that without like the chair or while you sit there without your hair being singed.
Exactly. Avoiding felonies is like a way to go here.
Amazing. Oh, that's right. Yes, we should. definitely blow it up, light it on fire. Let's go. Death Riders forever. All right, let's see. We got a Jordan Grace comment here. Hope Jordan Grace shines with AEW when her contract expires. We'll see. It's a pretty tight women's division right now. We got I hope Moxley doesn't kill Orange Cassidy tonight. You and me both. We'll get to that one in a minute, pretty soon. I doubt very seriously that he's hanging out with CM Punk.
Poor Jade, our chalk outline last night on that car. Whatever happened to her, the mystery.
Oh, poor Jade. I'm sorry. Sam says Wheeler hesitates, Jack doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point. Jack is really quick to be violent. He's proven that he's a terrible human being. He would fit quite well with the Death Riders.
Yes.
And as far as Jordan Grace goes, David, I'm sorry to tell you, she is going to sign with WWE.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that's 99% confirmed.
Yes, official debut Royal Rumble 2025 in Indianapolis. It's over. It's a wrap. Like basically, the contract has been printed out and dated. They're just waiting for her to sign it, essentially.
Yeah, just waiting for her TNA deal to expire. And I mean, this whole NXT deal, part of it is going to be filtering talent from TNA into NXT. That's kind of the role of it as well. So, Jordan will do very well wherever she goes, though. She's awesome. So either way, she'll do fine.
And I don't expect her, fortunately or unfortunately, but I also think with things like where we were talking about last week, where Becky is probably going to be signing a pretty significant deal and the women have a lot more leverage to deal, and she is somebody that they're going to want, she'll probably be able to get the retirement money out of that situation. And I don't know. I mean, where would you put her in AEW's women division right now?
Becky comes back, that she'll get big money. She deserves it.
She's a very big, I mean, in a lot of ways, in my mind, or in some ways, I mean, the men's are kind of writing the thing, but the women have been more interesting than the men's storylines to me over the last several months.
To be fair, I don't watch WWE, so I have really no idea.
Well, no, I'm not talking about WWE. I'm talking about AEW.
Oh, and AEW. Yeah.
So when I say that, I'm saying it with the idea that Jordan Grace would be better off going to WWE. She'll make more money and she'll get time, and it's becoming a really competitive women's division in AEW. If she doesn't want to work as hard, it just seems like it would not work as hard. That's the wrong thing to say because she's an incredibly hard worker. If she wants to go get paid the way that she deserves for good and all, then that makes the absolute most sense.
And to be fair to it's AEW's women's division has not a lot of room at the top right now.
Yeah.
Where in NXT she would be immediately placed in the top position, or WWE she would immediately be one of the top stars there.
Yeah, agreed. So all right, so we all have agreements here. Sam does remind us that and this is not 100%, but pretty close. It sounded like Dave was like, yes, this is happening. Speedball is going to AEW though. And he's finished up his bookings, I believe, with all of his indie things. So we could, I guess, even potentially see him tonight, right? I mean, pay-per-view.
Yeah, it's possible. They might announce him for the C2 tonight, even if he's not actually there.
Yeah, that'd be. I like that better. That's probably smarter.
Yeah, he's. I've seen Speedball live in person and talked to him once, I believe, at one of the local indie shows here in Ottawa. And he's a great guy, great professional wrestler. He would fit very well in AEW.
David, I don't think that's true.
No, David, I'm sorry. No.
I think you're being funny, but if you're not, so. I think you're right, because she retired. Yes, she's never coming back ever again.
That's right. We will not see her tonight.
And that's Kevin Owens' contract might expire, but he's another one who I think is a lifer. Personally, I don't see him ever leaving WWE. But I mean, never say never. We've got Sam Speedball and Jake Something are defending their tag titles on December 8th in DPW. Oh, and Mike Gilbert is going to be getting the book on that next year, from what I've heard about him moving to the region. So
That's true. He is aiming to get the book. Yeah.
So, all right, let's move on to the next match here. We've got Swerve Strickland versus the almighty Bobby Lashley. Yet another match I'm super duper excited about. I think that you kind of have to give Bobby Lashley the win on this one to get him over, because it's not going to hurt Swerve to lose, and he's the man right now. That doesn't mean he is going to, but if they're going to give Bobby Lashley a push, I feel like you have to give him this match. So that's going to be my pick for this one. So Keela gets to go next this time. Ha.
All right. So this match is another toss-up, because what do you do? Swerve he last was seen at All Out getting destroyed by Hangman Page on a pay-per-view, and that was a gnarly, crazy match. And then here we go here with Bobby Lashley making his debut in AEW recently, and they're trying to kind of reconfigure the Hurt Business via the Hurt Syndicate, and you want to get that crew over. So how do you do that? You have Bobby win his first official pay-per-view match against Swerve. I do see that most likely happening. Swerve will be okay. And as I said a few weeks ago on this very show, that he needs a crew, and it's going to be more than Mogul Embassy. It's going to be some heavy hitters that I think will really speak to who Swerve is and what you need in order to combat this new crew that MVP's put together. And it's going to be an interesting mesh of him recruiting people from AEW. You see Leo Rush in the peripheral. You possibly see Ricochet in the mix too. Anytime they get handed out a card by MVP, you do plant a seed. For where we go, I don't know. But for this match, if you're trying to establish Bobby Lashley as a major player in this company, then you beat the former champion straight up, one-on-one.
Yeah, I think that says it right there. I think Lashley wins this match. You got to establish him in AEW, not just as a guy who just came in, but as a legit threat to the top of the card. And there's no better way to do that than to beat the guy who was just world champion a short time ago, who is probably their number one babyface right now. And it wouldn't hurt Swerve. You can do some shenanigans with MVP to as well to give an excuse for the loss. And the rest of the crew from the Hurt Syndicate. And plus, you got a lot of momentum right now. They're really cool, and people like them and are into them, even though they're heels. But at this point, even if they're heels, you just got to go with it. And I think Lashley winning makes sense. Swerve will not be hurt by it. The feud can continue onwards until Swerve gets his win back down the line. And you obviously, at the end, you want this to get everyone over. And that's probably the way to do it. And having a guy like Bobby Lashley, even at his age, near the top of the card is perfectly fine, because he's a great worker and he has a great presence, that superstar presence that people like. And I think that's good stuff to go with. And I think the match will be fun. It's going to be, like I said, it's hard to have a bad match with guys that are this good. You have to be like actively like messed up or like hurt to have a bad match. And there's so many matches on this card I can say that about. I'm looking at it now, and it's like this is just a stacked card in terms of match quality, and this will be another good one.
Seriously, like, even though I put this together before, now I'm really looking at it with you guys. I'm like, geez, it just never ends. This, like, it makes more and more, and like you said it earlier, Josiah, about the fact that like it's worth it that you'll buy two because you know that they're going to be worthwhile. But the fact that they've even improved like their pacing and stuff, whereas even though it was long, it's starting to feel more like Tony is taking the page out of the New Japan book for pacing.
Yes,
and I have these matches, they're big, but they go, and it keeps the card like fresh and moving. And I've got some stuff. Sam says, "Oh, go ahead." Yeah.
Yeah, like, and every match is different. Like, there's not one match in this card that you're going to look at it and go, oh, that's the same style as the previous one or anything like that. I mean, the closest thing would be Takeshita and Ricochet, Ospreay, and Fletcher. But even then, all four of those guys kind of work different styles as it is. And you're going to end up with a whole bunch of matches that are unique with their own style of wrestling, which also bodes well when you have a guy steal the show and then the next match is a completely different style of match. That actually paces the card well and lets the fans enjoy all the matches without burning them out.
Yes. All right, I gotta see this. I gotta put up this Sam tinfoil theory here since we were doing bold stuff here. I saw a theory that Keith Lee is the fourth member of the Hurt Syndicate and he cost Swerve. So maybe. I mean, he is out there. I would love to see Keith Lee be successful. I love Keith Lee on the indies. He was one of my favorite people to watch. If he's healthy and ready to go, like she says here, it would there is history between them, but she says she doesn't know how Keith's recovery is going, if he's even close to being ready, but I thought it was really interesting. And so she was basically thinking what I was saying, or saying what I was thinking, or yes, both of those. Is that if he's healthy and he's ready to come back, that would be a lot of fun. But I mean, if he's ready, because I think it's getting harder and harder to, I mean, I think you really have to show up for work at AEW more and more these days. Like, it's such a good roster. Let's see. All right.
It's rather insane how stacked AEW's roster is.
It's crazy. All right. Let's go. All right. The women's match of the night, the TBS Championship, Mercedes Moné versus Chris Statlander. I don't want to pick first on this one. Somebody else go first.
I can pick first this time.
All right, you go.
So I think Mercedes wins this one. I don't think it's Statlander's time to take the title off Mercedes or anyone else's. And this is a classic wrestling trope where Statlander laid out Mercedes on Dynamite. That makes me think, oh, well, that means Mercedes is going to win. Maybe they'll do the opposite, but that's my feeling on that. It'll be a good match. Like, they're two very good workers, so I can't see it being bad. But they are slowly seeding division between Mercedes and Camille as well. So we'll see where that goes if that continues. Camille might cost Statlander the match here, and then they'll just continue doing that. But I would say Mercedes is going to win this match, and it should be quite good.
Keila, you wanna weigh in?
Yes, we talked about this recently as well, and this needs to be a good match. The talent is very obvious here. We've had conversations about Mercedes and AEW so far. It has not been exactly sunshine and rainbows in terms of matches, but I'm hoping this match delivers with time. I think they will have that. Chris had a great match against Willow at All Out. It really put her back on the map as a babyface, even though they really had a time trying to extract her from Stokely in a very sloppy way on an episode of Rampage, which is random. But hey, they did it to get her back as a babyface because she was so great in that match. But Mercedes, this is a big test here because here's an opportunity to absolutely go out there and deliver. I think they will. If they don't, I will have things to say.
Yeah, it's kind of like a do or die moment for Mercedes here, so to speak. She is a good worker. It's funny though, but I watch her in New Japan and I saw better matches out of her in New Japan. So I'm not really sure what's going on, why it hasn't clicked with AEW yet. But I mean, it would be very hard for this match to be bad. But this is the time where she has to click and deliver a great match.
Yeah, I think that she kind of has to win because it hasn't been people haven't taken to her the way that you thought. I mean, and she's doing the CEO thing and she's trying, but it's pretty clear that people aren't really into it yet. Yeah, I tend to think that it's not Chris Statlander's time, and that Mercedes they both need to have a really, really good match here. They both need to kind of solidify where they are as workers. And I think that because Chris can go around beating up other people too, and maybe she'll start a new beef with somebody, but I don't know. We need Mercedes to be what she got paid to be. And if this isn't working, then maybe something else needs to, they need a different direction. I don't know. We've got a suggestion of Thunder Rosa being next for Mercedes Moné, which might be interesting and could be a lot of fun. So I hope this match is as good as it should be on paper, and I hope they give them some time, even though I'm sure that Sam will let us know what exact time they gave us. Let's see. Sam says
at least 15 to 20, I think, would be the ideal.
Agreed. They need the time to go out there and have a really good match, and I think they will. But I think the consensus is Mercedes' run in AEW has been underwhelming. But on the plus side, the beauty of professional wrestling is that in time, people will figure it out. And if she can figure it out, what's missing here, she'll get it there. As Josiah said, she's been very good in New Japan. And it's like night and day when you see her work in AEW. And outside of what she did with Stephanie Vaquer back at Forbidden Door, we haven't seen that quality there yet. So hopefully tonight is a sign of that, and we're moving in the right direction. But yeah, I could understand why we feel the way we do, because when you get paid this kind of money, you are supposed to deliver, and you said so yourself. That's why you joined AEW, because you wanted to set the price and the standard for women's wrestling. You have got to live up to that now.
Agreed. I mean, you guys have, I'm not going to say anything you haven't. Laurent says AEW can't seem to get Mercedes' presentation right for some reason, but New Japan has her presentation nailed down perfectly. It doesn't help they don't let her wrestle more like Danielson did. I mean, it's interesting. It is an interesting point, because she is a different person when she is in her New Japan style. Maybe she's trying. I mean, she spent a long time in WWE. We have to remember that. Maybe she's struggling when she's on the TV, on the regular North American TV, to switch over.
That is true, because AEW is a different style of product than WWE. As much as, well, some of the WWE style stuff that creeped its way into AEW has not been received well by the fans. And so where she still kind of cuts those WWE style promos and stuff like that, especially when she was a babyface, that didn't really go over well, because they didn't really sound genuine. They just sounded like rehearsed promos. She's doing better as a heel, but it took Cody a long time to learn how to break out of that WWE style stuff when he first went to Ring of Honor. And it was funny, because now he's back in WWE and he's doing the exact opposite of what he was taught by WWE, and he's more over than ever. He's the biggest babyface in wrestling. So it's just interesting with that. And I think she'll learn. Mercedes is good enough that she can learn from that. And I think part of what helps with the New Japan stuff is that she doesn't have to talk for 15 minutes or 10 minutes. She only has to talk for 30 seconds at the most, and then just go out there and wrestle. Because that's what she's best at, is definitely the wrestling. And I think keeping the promo time shorter for her, minute, maybe 2 at most, and letting her just go out there and work, I think that will help.
I just think she truly needs the time. John Moxley naturally was like, I don't want scripted promos. He walked in here and he started cutting his own promos, and he was the happiest guy on the planet. Not everyone is going to walk out of WWE, though, and be like that. There's going to be people who need outlines, or they need, and I'm not saying scripted per se, but some people need the help of other people. Some people are great on their own for their promos. They just need to know, what do I need to hit? But some people really do need to workshop it with somebody, or get somebody else's input, or bounce things off of people. And it may just take her a little longer to do that. So, like you're saying, lean on her wrestling.
And to be fair, too, I mean, she spent, 10 years in WWE? And so she spent 10 years with scripted promos because that's what they do. And it's only until Vince left that they actually have a little more free reign in that. But they still do primarily scripted promos in WWE. And so I don't blame her for not being able to go into an environment that is largely unscripted and not be able to cut the kind of promos that she would, say, in WWE. That's not her fault. That's just a part of the learning process.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're not helping her by continuing to sort of let it ride. I mean, even when I was watching like Wednesday's Dynamite, there was a little bit of it was like, don't force it. If it's not working, just like bail out. It's okay. Like say something fun and get out of there and move on. There's plenty on the show. She's got Camille there. Have Camille do something meaningful and don't like force her to be uncomfortable. Don't set her up to fail, I guess is what because in the ring, she is obviously like we've all said, but she's great. She's such a great wrestler. My fire alarm battery has decided to die right here. So if you guys are hearing that, I apologize. But my dogs are now cowering beneath me, as dogs do when that happens. So let's get to the coup de grace. The final.
En français, s'il vous plaît.
Yeah, I like to say it phonetically because it's funny to me. But so the main event of the evening is for the AEW World Championship, and it is Jon Moxley versus Orange Cassidy for the second time. And I expect this to be badder and meaner and bloodier than the first time. So I think Moxley retains because I think this is Moxley's AEW for a bit. But I also think that it sends Orange Cassidy in whatever direction they're trying to send him in, or at least I hope it does, because this is usually one of those times of year when they start doing new storylines and reorganizing a little bit for the new year. And what is next for Orange Cassidy, I think will play out even in the loss here. I hope. So I'm taking Moxley. Let's see. I'm going to pick Josiah.
Okay. I feel singled out here. No. Poor Orange Cassidy is going to die tonight.
I feel so much nicer about it.
And I love the match will be great because it's two great workers. But he is going to experience what is probably a very violent, bloody death tonight as Jon Moxley murders him and continues on his rampage. Moxley right now is tremendous. I'm really into what he's doing. And it's funny because his promos, he's a heel, so he's a hypocrite. Like he doesn't actually care about AEW. He cares about holding the title and holding the power and stuff like that. That's the character. But in real life, we know that this man loves AEW with everything that he has, and he wants the company to succeed. And so I'm very much so into Moxley being this guy who's running roughshod over everyone, and we need a hero to rise to beat him. It's got a little bit of that NWO vibe, a little bit of that Horseman vibe to it, where you need that babyface to rise up. And right now he's kind of putting the line in the sand and say, you don't like it, come and do something about it. And Orange is the first guy who is standing up to try to do something about it, but he is going to pay dearly. and Jon Moxley is this violent killer who just wants to destroy everyone. I'm really into it as a heel. He's got that real heel Terry Funk vibe going. A little bit of Stan Hansen in it. Just this uber violent heel, and I cannot wait to see where it goes. There's no way this match will be bad because again, it's two great workers, but it's going to be awesome.
Okay, sorry, dog in my lap, and yeah. So, Keela, what do you do? Keela, what do you think?
Well, as Josiah said,
I mean, he did kind of.
Orange Cassidy lived a good life. He had a good run. He really did. And he's going to die tonight. And I know people on our chat was like, is he not going to die? Yeah, he's going to die. Get your oranges out, squeeze them. It's going to be a bloody death tonight. I love
The
Orange
orange will
Cassidy.
be squeezed tonight.
He will be
I'm just
squeezed
picturing
dry.
a little headstone with like sunglasses emboldened on it.
The headstone will say the orange was squeezed.
Yeah. Here lies Orange. The orange was squeezed. He lived a good life. May he rest. That will be the epitaph for Orange Cassidy. He lived a good life. I love Orange Cassidy. I want to preface that by saying I love him. I love the dark denim look because he's dark Orange Cassidy.
No, evil orange.
Evil Orange.
Evil Orange Cassidy. He almost like he needs the goatee. Like, I mean, I'm glad he has the beard, but he like needs the goatee and the whole thing. So he's got it going on. It's like evil orange.
You might say he's a rotten orange now.
He's a blood orange.
Rotten orange, blood orange. I love it. I dig it. Darth Orange Cassidy is his name.
There we go. I like it.
I love it.
Excellent.
I love it. I love Mox too. And I think that he's finally being given this opportunity to do a character he's always wanted to do. And I am so happy that he got those 6 weeks off to refresh and reset because he needed that for 2 years. He got it. He came back. I love the mystery of his initial return. And then you find out he's absolutely gone off the rails because he wants his AEW, but it's all about him in all reality. Because as Josiah said, the championship equals power and control. And Mox is about that right now. And I did read this interesting theory online about the parallels a little bit to Roman in WWE, that when he got the reset 4 years ago, you come back as a different guy and you get to tell the story that you want to tell. And I think that is Mox right now in this position, telling his story and getting his crew over and his envisionment of what he wants to do in AEW. It is going to be a long run. People will die, figuratively speaking. There will be a pile of bodies in this run here that I'm here for, but ultimately it's going to be who's going to be the man to dethrone him. It could be a babyface Hangman sometime next year. It could be Kenny Omega. It could be someone we have no idea. Could be Ospreay. Could be a number of people, but the journey to this is going to be a lot of fun, and how the Elite is going to play in this is going to be interesting too.
Yes, because the Elite definitely have a role to play with the Young Bucks going home to let Moxley destroy the company. I think that's interesting as well. Will the Young Bucks come back as heels or baby faces? They'll probably come back as baby faces, but I can see it leading to a blood and guts situation later in the year, next year, like in May. Another Elite versus it would not BCC this time, but Death Riders Blood and Guts, which would be interesting. But we'll see if we get there. I'm in for the ride on this. Moxley clearly has a plan. He knows what he's doing. He has a vision for this, and in real life too, he wants young guys to step up. So I think it's going to be a young guy that dethrones him. I think that he's calling the shots on that. And I could see it being someone like Darby or something like that, or Ospreay. But he wants one of the newer talents to come up and dethrone him. And I don't think it's going to happen for quite some time.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. I do think this is going to be a bit of a run. I feel like he's back in that mode that he was in, like sort of when he took over for Forbidden Door when things went awry, and he kind of, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I think he's the ace of this company, and I think when things like are in whatever place, whether it's a limbo or it's actually trying to go in a direction, they kind of like look to him, and he wants AEW to exist for real so bad that I really do think that he'll do this in a way that will help literally everybody in the company continue to improve. And they've got the money now that they've got this contract. So, I mean, we all loved those feuds. We loved watching those, like, NWO feuds, or the, like, even in New Japan, the big, like, clashes between, he is definitely, I like where things are going. I'm happy right now. I feel really good. There was a while there where I was feeling like what's going on and then I'm feeling like things are like back on track. And actually I think 2025 is going to be a pretty dang good year for AEW all the way around. Let's see what Sam says here. She says that she thinks that Orange could eventually dethrone him, but not for a while, which seems to be the prevailing wisdom with all of us. And Moxley did promise to do something heinous. He's Moxley.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's gonna make his opponents pay. He's gonna make them bleed. He's gonna drag it out of them, as he says. He wants to see them survive, try to survive against him. He's got that, actually, another guy he's kind of got that vibe going with is like 1995, 96 Taz in ECW.
Oh, yes. Oh, that was one of my favorite. I love Taz so much. That was like when I could sneak ECW into my life.
And he was like, just straight through running through everyone in ECW at that point, and very kind of similar there. To go into it and not expect Mox to be very violent, he's going to be great in this. There's lots of options of where you can go, but you can tell in real life this guy really, really wants to help grow the company, and his vision of pro wrestling is the kind of a similar vision that I've always had growing up, which is this 80s style. Mid-South style booking with really violent heels and really likable baby faces, and I think that's the kind of stuff that very few people are doing, and it will work well. And it's kind of what AEW was really founded on originally. When you watch that 2019 to probably the end of 2021 AEW, it was very Mid-South territory style booking, not perfectly, of course, but I think getting back to that is good, and we're slowly seeing it pay off in terms of ticket sales creeping upwards a little bit for them, and all that. Like, fans want an alternative, and when you try to be WWE, you can't be WWE as good as WWE is. And so the best role for AEW is to be the best AEW they can, which is embrace everything that WWE isn't, and be that alternative that people are looking for.
Keila, do you have comments on that?
I co-sign on everything. I think that 2025 is going to be like the transitional period of AEW getting back on track, because the reason we love AEW was because it provided an outlet for us as fans to say, oh, this isn't WWE. This is real professional wrestling. This is sensible booking. These are young stars getting over and being pushed and getting elevated at the exact same time. I will say that the peak happened in 2021. It's been kind of a plateau this year for sure. We've seen it hit, and we do see a small turnaround beginning as they are downsizing buildings, thankfully. Like, let's be a bit more intimate. Let's get back to basics. You have money, but at the same time, let's go to the sweet spot of what made you popular in the first place. Get back to telling stories with arcs that have this ebb and flow that gets you to where you need to be over the course of months and years. Even that was Tony's game plan the first 3 or 4 years of AEW. And I do think that with all great bookers, burnout does happen. And we've seen that a bit. And I hope that reset continues. Moxley, as we have all said, loves this company to death, and he wants it to grow. And he has an idea via the storyline to say, hey, let me take this, let me shoulder the responsibility of being the champion, and let me get people over. He spoke to the Power with Private Party. What have you done in 5 years? Nothing. And look what happened. It told a story that gets them in a championship match at a pay-per-view as the champion. So there is nuggets of stories being told. And I think for AEW, it's going to unfold in a better way next year. And I will predict by 2026, they will get their core audience back. They will be back watching the show with regularity. You got to give them a reason to watch. It's not going to happen overnight, because when you lose who you are a little bit, it takes a while to get it back. Look at WWE. That took 5 years from where they were in 2018 to today. So resets happen, cycles happen in wrestling, AEW will be fine because they've diagnosed a problem and they're trying to fix it. And that is key. They know what the problem is, and now they're trying to reset.
And to give the our friends Mike and JD the shout out. It is not a coincidence that the booking of AEW has been better since Jimmy Jacobs is gone. That's all I will say to that.
There's so many people that agree with that. And it's funny because I was just reading his name about something totally different from so long ago that it was like, God, I'm kind of glad that he's not in the product either. And yeah, I mean, I think sorry, getting all distracted here, but you guys have basically, Keela is right. Yes, she is. She is always right. And when Mox is involved, there is always violence. But I do think that I like the downsizing thing too. I think they should do what TNA just did and play Wayne State in Detroit, because we were left off the list again, and I'm still a little miffed about that. But they got 2 nights of sellout in that venue, and it is a smaller college, WCW-esque like venue that can still it can hold a good number of people, but it can go back to that feeling where, and they said there's no coincidence about that. To me, there's no coincidence that WWE started actually trying when AEW became a thing, because and I think that more than anyone, Moxley, because he lived it and was like offered the money he was offered, and we don't know what it was exactly, but we know it was a ridiculous sum of money, is that he was like, no, I would rather risk going and starting a company that competes with you and makes it so that this whole business can be better. And they may not like it, but AEW made WWE better.
Thank God, because if they didn't, my God, the company would be like,
they wouldn't care.
Dumb rich with just terrible booking.
They wouldn't have had to. They wouldn't have had to have a bloodline. They wouldn't have needed to go after Cody. Cody Rhodes and CM Punk would not be relevant to the WWE if it was not for AEW.
Preach.
100%.
Preach.
True. And that makes it better for everyone. I don't need to watch WWE to recognize that that's just good for everybody. It's good for getting paid. It's good for having good and the best wrestling on TV. And
AEW existing is the best thing for the wrestling business because it drives the wages up for everyone and offers more jobs. And even if you're not an AEW fan, you should be glad AEW exists, because that means the top WWE performers are getting paid a lot more, and that is good for the wrestlers, good for the people that we like to cheer as they damage their bodies for our entertainment.
Yes.
I know enough wrestlers personally that just on the independent scene, like, these people love it when they do it, and to see them get paid to do what they love, that's the best thing. I'm not the biggest WWE fan. I get what they're doing right now, especially under Triple H's leadership, is working. It's not for me, but it's working for the WWE audience, and that's great. And I think they're super serving their audience everything that they like, and AEW can super serve their own audience what their audience likes, and everyone will be better off for it.
And in wrestling, we got like 2 companies. It's going to be worth over like $1 billion. We know that WWE is worth multiples of billions of dollars, but AEW, when their next contract is due for television rights, it will be worth over $1 billion. Nobody would have predicted that for wrestling ever, that they're like multi-billion-dollar companies.
Yep. If this was a 5-year contract instead of a 3-year one with a 4th-year option, the contract would have been worth over $1 billion, which is astonishing. Like no one has ever done that except WWE. That's incredible.
Yeah, and the people that came the closest really kind of pwned it themselves. They got as close as anyone was ever going to. And the reverberations, I've had conversations with a couple of people where it was like, can you imagine if, like, even in talking about Motor City, it's like, if WCW had stayed around, maybe they would have had a platform, that kind of thing. Well, now the next guys that are like that are going to have a platform, because people are going to be literally competing for them instead of it being like you go here or nothing. And the biggest thing I think that a lot of things that where you talked about it getting stagnant, and I think that they talked about this with Garrett and Pat LaPrade when they were talking about the Hall of Fame show, is Tony is literally running like 4 companies at one time and probably giving some like more, I don't know, just like he did with Bryan Danielson, but maybe giving the company
delegate.
Thank you. That's a good word.
Yeah.
Even to a Moxley type.
Yes.
It's not like that guy doesn't know the score.
Exactly.
I mean, he literally could have lost. I mean, if he was in WWE and quit his career to go into rehab, we wouldn't probably see him on the TV right now, or he'd be on TNA. Like if we didn't have what we have, but that's not what happened. And now we have this guy he's dialed in, and probably now now that he's sober, probably more than ever.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Because it
Mox
changes your
been,
entire brain, like your whole. He's a smarty.
Yes. He's been on a tear since he came back, and good for him too.
Yes, right on.
I'm actually I was really inspired by that.
Me too, especially having people in my family who have dealt with addiction and these things is like, you don't know how big of a hero you really are.
And to talk about it publicly in front of thousands of people and millions watching at home is not easy to do. And I thought that was one of the bravest things he ever did, ever, to say like, yeah, I went through this shit. I made it through. I'm still fighting, and he still is. And look at him in his medium tops. Yes, I say it every time.
I love it. It's the best. It's okay because it keeps Sam's light burning, like she said. You keep the Sam light shining. And I think that's great, though. I mean, and he's like the biggest ambassador in the world. I mean, we talked about like Tanahashi being the ace of the universe because he's such a wrestling ambassador. But I mean, if you want a guy from North America, I can't think of a better guy right now. So, and he really does lead by example, because when you go back over all the shenanigans and the things that have been going on, his name is never in the mix. He's never getting involved in backstage drama or.
No, he's just putting the pieces back together after the drama.
Oh my God, yes.
That's why he needs Samoa Joe's help, because he can't be the only. There needs to be. It's a big roster. I think they need 2 dads.
Yes. Oh, Samoa Joe be like the best dad ever.
The 2 of them would be the best co-parents of AEW in the history of all things. So let's get that hooked up. All right. I think that we have done this long enough and we've gotten to everything. I do want to let everybody know, and let me put the address up here in case you can't see it, is that this evening following the pay-per-view, probably about 10-15 minutes after the pay-per-view goes off the air, Jeremy Feinstein will be joined by the JD Oliva himself from the Mike and JD show on the Voices of Wrestling Network. And maybe some other pals will be popping in to discuss the show after the show, to give you their takes on how everything went and what they thought. And you can sign up. If you're not subscribed, you can hit the subscribe button and the little ding-a-ling bell. And it'll tell you. Otherwise, we will retweet it on our Powerbombshells things and all of that jazz. But we do have you covered before and after. I don't know about a show next week because it is post-Thanksgiving and everyone might be on vacation. But I will keep you guys posted again on the Powerbombshells.
Post Thanksgiving for the American folks, where I've already.
I'm sorry. Yes, forgive me. I forget the great. I meant to wish you a happy, great white Canadian Thanksgiving. I know you guys have it a little early.
Yep.
We had a great conversation in the Discord about what do Canadians eat. Like, do you guys like turkey, or do you like have?
It's usually turkey. Yeah, it's pretty much the same as the American in terms of food, but the American one is much more elaborate. Ours is a more quiet holiday where it's just
very Canadian.
Yeah, well, yeah, very Canadian. Like everything for us is kind of toned down and quiet, to be fair. But we do get Black Friday here now because the American.
Everyone gets Black Friday, Josiah.
That is true. That is
America
true.
has exported Black Friday to every corner of the earth.
So I
Yes.
will take advantage of the deals, but I'm not going to be. I'm going to order online though. I'm not going to any stores at 6 a.m. to trample people. So
Agreed. And we did actually joke about, Keela and I were joking about the Cabbage Patch Wars and so forth of previous years. So, but
well,
unfortunately, in this economy, we all kind of have to take advantage of Black Friday sales because, dude, I need that $10 off. Okay,
that's true.
That's a lot of money.
I bought some video games last night for Black Friday, so they're on the way.
Games. I
Yep.
need to go on my Switch store.
That's a good call. That's a good call.
Thank you for reminding me.
No problem. But yes, happy Thanksgiving to my American friends. I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving and a wonderful holiday.
Thank you, Josiah. And Keela Cash, besides every Sunday lately here on Powerbombshells, let the people know where they can see and hear from you otherwise during the week.
Yes, so I've hit my quota, I think.
You have now hit your quota, so anything
Yes.
over this is just gravy, as
Yes.
we'll say, since it's with the Thanksgiving theme.
Yes, it's a bonus. I'm very grateful to be here today. Nice talking to Josiah as well for the first time, which was super cool. But you can also hear me every Wednesday morning, most likely on The Wrap with Scott Young, my co-captain, talking all things WWE involving Monday Night Raw, SmackDown, NXT. And I do believe we are doing a Survivor Series preview on Wednesday. And I do think that we will be going live on YouTube Saturday night after Survivor Series War Games, after whatever happens with OG Bloodline versus New Bloodline. And I can assure you that somewhere Seth Rollins is fuming that CM Punk is the fifth man. Oh, I love this. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Oh, can't hear you, Mel.
That's because I paused myself. Did I miss a funny comment? Did Sam say something hilarious that I missed?
I don't think so.
No, okay. All right. All right. Well, anyway, so we're going to get on out of here. And I do appreciate all of you guys joining us in the comments. And I hope you enjoy your full gear. And I hope you enjoy your holiday. And if you don't celebrate it, then enjoy your Thursday next week. Because, hopefully you'll get it off. And good luck in your Black Friday hunting if that's what you choose to do. Otherwise, I am going to say that we are going to be out of here. And again, check us out later on tonight after the show, because that should be really fun. I don't think JD has been around for a bit, so it'll be fun to have him on the network. But once again, I'm really grateful to Keela Cash for all of the help. And I'm grateful to talk to Josiah again and get to talk to you. We got to see each other in real life the last time, so that was pretty fun.
That is true, yes, for Forbidden Door.
One of my few Fight Game Media IRL meets so far, so we're going to have to work on that for future. But everybody have a great Thanksgiving, and we really appreciate you all. And on behalf of everyone, have a great week. Peace.